Okay, I think it's recording. So welcome to Magento 2 Charlotte. Thank you everybody for coming. I think this group's been a long time in the works since, I don't know, the other Magento meetup in Charlotte has been kind of dead since for years now. So it's good to have a meetup group, obviously. And maybe we'll try to do it every other week if we can get enough presentations, or maybe once a month would be fine with me. So I guess we'll just start with introductions. I'm Steve T. I'm a tech lead at CBDMD here in Charlotte. We run a Magento 2 store with 4 sub-stores in it. And yeah, I mean, I've been doing Magento development for probably 5 or 6 years, Magento 2 since it came out. Yeah, I'm interested in all things front end and also interested in the back end. And yeah, we'll just go around. The next person I see on my list is Steve B. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I work with Steve T at CBDMD. I am back in tech lead there. I've been doing Magento for a very short time, just a little bit over a year. Yeah, I'm interested mainly in the back end, but everything Magento. I'm interested in learning everything related to Magento, even on the front end side. Just like Steve T, I'm very excited about the future of this meetup. And yeah, I guess the next person can go now.
Sweet. Ruggy, maybe?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Ruggy. I also work with Steve at CBDMD. I'm a senior digital designer. Main focus is making the website look good. Yeah, super excited to learn more about the front end Magento 2. I dabble a little bit with front end design, but I'm just curious to see how everything works.
Sweet. And Taryn Deep, am I saying that right?
Yes, Tarandeep. So yes, this is Tarandeep. I'm from Florida. So sorry if I'm should not be on that meetup. So yeah, I work with Rave Digital. We are an agency, and I have been involved in Magento for a while now. If we see year-wise, maybe like 8-9 years. Lately, I'm not much involved in development. My job role is more of architect and to manage the account. And yep, I hold multiple certification in M2, and I saw this meetup invite from Steve B, I believe, somewhere. And I do not know Steve B personally, but sometime back we met on LinkedIn. So I thought to just, it's gonna be a good learning session. So just join it and to know more about you guys and the front-end workflow.
Awesome. Welcome. Yeah, no, it's no problem to join from Florida. I say, especially during these times, it's like everybody can join from anywhere. More the merrier.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I just came from Florida, and yeah, I had reached out to you. About a year. I had connected with you about a year ago when I first started in Magento 2. It's it's funny. I was like, how did he get into this meeting? But that would make sense.
Yeah.
Glad to have you.
Awesome. Yeah. Welcome. And Kevin?
Hey everybody, my name is Kevin. I also work with Steve B and Steve T. I am the AWS engineer / automation deployment backend guy. I haven't worked much with Magento prior to this, I'd say within the last 7 months or so, but I'm always willing to learn something new. So nice to meet everyone.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah, and maybe at the end of the meetup, if there's any time left, we can go around and talk about like what we use to learn for web stuff or Magento 2, any websites or anything we want to share. But other than that, unless anybody wants to say anything else, I'll just start in with the topic. Okay, so here we go. Basically, I'm going to assume you know basic front-end development, and then we can talk about these topics. So NPM and Grunt, client-side versus server-side rendering, developer mode and production mode, Grunt commands, using the @import command inside of Magento, making a proper theme with partials, mobile first and breakpoints, adding tablet layout to a theme that extends from Luma or Blank, and kind of piggybacking on the importing Magento media queries versus standard ones. And then I'm just going to introduce a couple of little extras I use. Also, we have a clan on Code Wars. If you haven't heard of Code Wars, it's a website where you can do little exercises as far as like JavaScript or PHP, and you can compete or just try to build your skills up. Also, it's a good way to keep your skills fresh. Like if I pass an exercise, then I come back in the next month and see if I still remember how to pass it. So Code Wars is pretty cool. And we have a Magento 2 Charlotte clan on there if you guys want to compete. I've been starting to use it. So the first part of this is Grunt. And if you're not familiar with Grunt, Grunt is like old Webpack. Most of the time in like a modern stack, you would use Webpack or even Gulp to do what Grunt is doing in Magento 2. But basically, I'm sure you're probably familiar with CSS being precompiled. So at the very least, Grunt is compiling that CSS for you. We don't commit like compiled CSS to the repo. So there's a step inside of Magento that is a part of the build process that compiles the less files into compiled CSS. But when you're running as a developer using Magento 2, you're not in production mode. So you wouldn't be doing a static content deploy and then having your CSS generated by like the PHP and Magento. So you use Grunt to do that. The way it works to start out with is you copy a couple of files. So let's like open this up real quick and just show you what I'm talking about. If you go to magento.com and you'll see compiling less and Grunt. This is your kind of your first step is that you copy, where is it? Yeah, you copy sample files, so package.json.sample and grunt file.sample to just take the sample off the end of it, right? And then you run npm install, and that installs Grunt. So Grunt is one of the things, it's an npm package inside of package.json. npm install installs Grunt. If that all works good, you're ready to rock and kind of move on to the next step, which is, I mean, I put a link here to Grunt.js and you can read about what it's all about. Really in Magento 2, you're using Grunt to deal with less files in developer mode. So client-side rendering. Inside of Magento 2, if you go to stores, settings, configuration, advanced developers, front-end development workflow, workflow type, there's a thing in there, and it's basically like, let's see if I can do this real quick. You might have heard of less.js. This is basically, you can install this script, and the JavaScript will render the less into CSS. And that is what this rendering mode is doing. It's basically, you're turning this on and you're basically saying, I want to skip having Grunt render the less files. And I honestly have never found like why you would do this. I did want to present it though, like if you are in some situation where it's just like, I can't get Grunt working, or I just want to see this change I made in the less file, you could possibly try this. But as a front-end developer, like this slide obviously says, it sucks. I wouldn't use it. It's not a good way to do development. So I just wanted to kind of present it. Also, don't confuse this with like deployment modes. I'm sure you're probably not doing that. Either you're not confusing them or you have no idea what a production mode is. So I'll just say this isn't that. Did anybody have any questions about this slide?
No, sir.
Nope.
Cool. So let's see what's up next. Okay, so developer mode versus production mode. First of all, in developer mode, we get errors, right? We get to see whatever PHP errors are happening. The symlinks are generated, and you don't have to run static content deploy. So let me see if I can pull this up. Basically, this folder right here, pub, static, and then front end. Everything inside of here, when you have a developer mode enabled, is a symlink. It's all just symbolic links back to your actual files, which are in app code front end, right? If you switch over to production mode and then you run static content deploy, it fills this folder, pub, static front end, like actually everything in pub really, with real files, right? So as you're developing, you would have to run static content deploy every time to see a new change to whatever file you're using. That would be incredibly annoying. And I mean, we even have a backend dev on our team. I know he'll probably watch this recording, but he runs always in production mode, and then he'll like copy whatever changes into pub static so that he can see. And according to him, it's a little faster that way. You know, I wouldn't ever recommend someone do that. But just so you kind of know, that is a big part of production mode versus developer mode, is that whatever's happening in pub, because like the root of a Magento website is pointed at pub, right? So if there's real files in here, when you're editing your files over here in the app directory, you're not going to affect the real files that are here. And if you edit the real files that are here, you're not going to commit those files, right? So you're kind of, as of someone running in production mode, you're not really in the right mode, which would be developer. And in that case, you would have symlinks. So I should just move on from there. Yeah, and static content deploy. Did anybody want to ask a question there?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So grunt commands. First thing, you configure your theme, right? Because if you install grunt, right, you do your npm install, grunt gets installed, you say grunt is running, then at that point, great, you can run grunt on like, you could you know, compile the less files for Luma and blank, basically. But what normally you're going to want to do is compile the less files for a custom theme. So you have themes.js. In this file, you can see these are the default themes that come with Magento, and there they are. And so if you do themes, themes, local themes, you can see I have some custom ones defined here. And that's kind of the first step. As a front-end developer, you got to make sure your custom theme, whatever it is defined here. You can see the little name. That's just whatever you want to call it. This could be Steve, right? And then in my terminal, I can run a command like grunt exec, and exec, that one is basically what you're doing when you run grunt exec is you're saying, hey, check all the files, look through everything, clean everything up, make sure I'm ready to go ahead and compile things. You don't have to run that very often. Grunt clean does something very similar. It's basically, I didn't add a new file, but I might have edited a file. And then grunt watch is like when you're ready to go ahead and develop. So if I do grunt watch, and then usually like this slide here, it says you can put in a specific, oh, there it is, a specific theme name. Because if I do grunt watch, just grunt watch, let me see if I can, yeah, I can't make that bigger, sorry. If you just run grunt watch, it's gonna watch everything. So it's gonna watch Luma, blank, all your custom themes, but you can put a colon and then the theme name, and it'll watch just that file. Now, it also, oh, what did I do? I did something. Oh, it's because I changed that. Don't change that. So yeah, it'll watch just specifically the theme you're wanting to watch, and then also any themes that are derived from it. So like in our stack, we have a theme that is derived from our main theme. If I'm watching the main theme and I make a change that would affect the child theme, then it would also compile the less for that. It just speeds things up a lot to do it this way. If you watch it all, every time I make a change, it's gonna do a lot of things, which you don't want. So there it is. If you can see, I know it's probably tiny, it's waiting down there. And if I make a change in my less files, it goes, oh, there was a change made, right? And so it starts running the less compiling, and bam, now it's done. So that right there, you saw how quick that was. That is, now you can go look at the web page and see whatever change you made. So if you turn something to red, bam, you change it to red. You're gonna wait. And as soon as it clicks to done, now you can go refresh and see your change. That's basically front-end development in Magento 2. That's how it works. Now, you'll see it's creating 2 style sheets and it's creating 2 source maps. Source maps, if I do this, does anyone know what a source map is? Okay, so I will tell you. A source map is like this. So if I inspect this banner that we have here, see how in my inspector, maybe I can make it bigger. Yeah, there we go. See how it's saying that I have, this is inside of a less file? Normally, you would never be able to see that because it's generated, you know, the CSS is compiled, right? And then that compiled CSS, it doesn't have anything to do with less anymore, right? So Grunt along the way is also creating these things called source maps that put little hints inside the CSS file to tell it, where did this come from? And that's really useful as a front-end developer to know, hey, it's not just somewhere in this, you know, 1,000-line CSS file. It came directly from line 215 in homepage.less. So source maps are a very, very useful feature. And then let me see. I know I was about to get to something great. So oh, there we go. Oh, yes, I'm looking at watch here. Yeah, and if you add a file or update an at import command, so you'll see some at imports like right here, bunch of at imports. Or if you add a new file and then you want to import it, you would have to run grunt exec again, and it would check everywhere and go, oh, okay, there's a new file, and then you could watch or run your less compiling command. Cool. So that, I mean, those are the standard kind of grunt commands. That's kind of your day as a front end developer in Magento. Is you're cleaning things, you're watching things. And if you do that, there's a certain combination of these. So you'll do exec and then cache clear, and then you run watch again, and you'll see your. Otherwise, if you don't do it kind of in this order, you could end up with stuff inside a pub that isn't like updated. You know, the pointer isn't right, and it just gets a little weird. So you gotta make sure to do these in that order. Also, just in case you didn't know, Magento on the command line has like keyword matching. I think it comes from the Symfony framework. So instead of cache clear, you could run C:C. That would work, or C:F. That would also flush the cache. I like clear because it's a little quicker. Flush kind of flushes everything. You don't need to do that much. Does anybody have any questions about this whole process or any of this before I move on?
Yes, so one small question. So we'll be using grunt and exec clean, all these commands during or when we are in the development mode, not in the production mode, right?
That's right, yep.
Yep. So while we are creating the new theme or we are making any updates to the existing theme, that too in the CSS or those particular couple of JS files, only that time grunt is required, otherwise not.
Right. And I mean, like for instance, when I first got this theme, there was a bunch of just regular .css files in here that were added into like the head blocks. In that case, you wouldn't need to run grunt at all, right? Because there's no like less compiling to do. So yeah, and that's right. Yeah.
Yep. That's what the best practices are, because if you don't know the less or grunt, what happens? You just end up with adding those CSS files so that you can quickly override the existing CSS, and without running through all this command, you'll be able to make those updates.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of, I see that a lot as someone gets a new Magento project and they're new to Magento. This kind of page I pulled up is kind of a lot to get your head around. Whereas you could kind of see like, oh, I could just add a regular CSS file to the head blocks, load it, and go that way. So yeah, I mean, this is the best practice, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anybody else?
Yeah, I had a question. I see that you like as a backend dev, there's a lot of tools for like writing PHP, auto completion, all that stuff, Xdebugger. But on the front end, I know like you can edit files directly within Chrome. Do you use workspaces or anything like that allows you to modify the files directly within the browser, or you stick specifically to the IDE?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sticking to the IDE because like one of the things I'm going to show a little later, I have like a movie of it, is live reload, which is a more modern thing too, where like instead of hitting refresh after I made a change, it would automatically reload the page for me. That is like a module you have to add. It's a composer package. So like in our current code base, we're kind of not in the step of like optimizing in that way. But yeah, I mean, I think to have it as a workspace where it's like, the question Steve is asking is like, instead of going back to your IDE and editing, like if I change something right here in Chrome and then hit save, it will actually go back and update my files. I don't use that currently. It's kind of a cool idea. But I would imagine if that were able to be added, it would probably be a module or a something you have to do to Magento as well to allow it to happen.
Gotcha. Yeah, just curiosity there, because I've like looked at some Chrome dev tools tutorials where they talk about workspaces and modifying things within the browser to speed up processes. But I just wanted to know if there was a particular reason you don't utilize that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a good idea. It's definitely something to look into. Anybody else? Okay, we'll go on to the next one. So at import, basically, if you're familiar with less, then you kind of know about at import. And at import is kind of like an include. If you're familiar with that, you're importing another piece of code into the one that you have now. These little pieces are called partials. So you see here I have like underscore modules dot less, underscore widgets dot less. The little underscore in front of it tells us this is a partial. And I think that word just means it's a partial piece of CSS. It's not the full enchilada. It's just a little piece. So for instance, you see all these imports I have here? These are a bunch of partials, and they all together add up to our style sheet, but we basically keep it all, in silos so that we don't end up with a big giant style sheet to go through. It's these separated ones. And that's how. Now, if you go to this this web page, right, and it says, sorry, let me open it here. It says on the Magento docs to do things this way. Oh, okay. Zoom gave us 40 minutes. So these imports are the Magento recommended imports. I've never seen them used. So I've been working in Magento for a long time. I tried actually on my current project to use these and they weren't working for me. So I just kind of went back to the way I've always seen it done, which looks like this. At import, and then you import the file you want to use. You'll notice most of the time too, when you do a partial import, you wouldn't include .less on it. But for Grunt and Magento's compiler, that is required. So I leave it. But basically, this is one of the areas I will call out as kind of like, as far as what I know about this process, this page is not very helpful. Well, this page is helpful, but this part of this page, to me, is a little misleading, or it could be a gap in my knowledge. Like, I haven't seen this happen this way. So just want to call that out. So extend.less. So this file, it's included in the parent. So Magento blank and Magento Luma have extend.less, but it's like an empty file, right? So when you override it and add it to your theme, you're basically just adding some sugar to whatever theme you're looking at, right? It's not like you're trying to override, which would be this one, extends. I don't know why they named these this way. It's confusing and weird. But extends in like Luma and blank does have stuff in it. So you have to copy that over. And you can see in ours, like one of the first things I ran into, because, yeah, I mean, I can skip that part, but one of the first things I ran into is these were missing from our extend file, but they do exist in the parent file. So then when you tried to run compile, other things in the code base were trying to use these variables, but since they weren't in extend in our theme, but they were in the parent theme, that it was crashing the, here, like I could do it. If I remove one and then run the less, I have to save it. grunt less, it will cause an error, right? It'll say, hey, you don't have, oh, maybe it didn't cause the error. But yeah, okay, so it didn't cause the error, but normally it would. Something, you know how that goes when you're doing a presentation. I mean, these type of things happen quite a bit too. You can detect like deployment failures using Grunt, because Grunt will throw the same less errors that a deployment would, and the deployment will just not generate these two files that we're going to talk about. Where's my presentation? Yeah, so let me see. Did I forget to talk about? Okay, so we should talk about, let's see. Oh, no. We'll talk about that. Don't worry. Okay, so I'm going to move on unless anybody wanted to ask a question about these last two little items. Okay, so to make a proper M2 theme, use partials. This is my quote. Do you like that? Here, let me make it full screen for you. Boom. Yes.
We didn't see it well enough, huh? By the way, I wanted to touch on why Umar runs his local in production mode. It's because sometimes weird stuff happens where an error isn't thrown in developer mode, but like it'll and that same, like the error will appear in production mode. So since the production is in production mode, I think he develops in production mode, so he doesn't have that issue. Just wanted to point that out.
Calling him out by name. Wow, Stevie. Amazing.
What? I mean, is it like a secret?
Well, it's still not ideal, but it's
Yeah.
fine. I'm not gonna try to get
I wonder if it has to do with the VM he's utilizing.
The what?
Like a virtual machine. We're using we stopped using those basically. We're using a thing called Valet.
Well, no. I'm talking about for him who we just previously named. I was just saying, I wonder if it's the VM he was utilizing.
Yeah, no, I know, but we all stopped using VMs though. Like we were using Docker to develop locally, which is kind of almost a VM sort of container, right? Yeah. But now we're using Valet, which is it's not a VM.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good question. It could be down that road. So yeah, this quote of mine, go ahead and write that down. Use partial.
This whole meeting was set up to show this quote or something.
Yes. Okay. So mobile first and M2 breakpoints. Okay. So for CSS, right, what you want to do is always write your CSS for the mobile theme or whatever mobile that you're doing. That's the CSS you write first, right? So you write that CSS and it's not inside of a media query. It's just the raw CSS at the top of the page. And I can show you in our code base what this looks like. Yeah, here it is, top of the page. I'll talk about this media comment thing in a minute, but all this CSS just gets output without a media query around it. And that means that when the mobile phone loads, it only ever sees the mobile CSS and no other CSS loads. Now the other ones, like let's say tablet or some media query above, you want to do min width. Min width means I'm only going to apply these styles starting at this minimum width and above. So, that's how we do all of our CSS. And you really, even this concept is not just Magento, right? It's for all websites. You should write your mobile CSS first, write it, because you kind of have to write it before the other CSS. That way, like tablet styles, they overwrite certain things. And For front-end developers, this is a kind of a hard concept to grasp at first, because what we're used to doing is getting the desktop comp, right? And that's what you start with, because that's what you want to show first. So I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm almost done with desktop. I'm going to get to mobile soon, right? Well, that's totally backwards. We can't do it that way, because what will happen if you make the desktop first, then that means mobile has to load all the styles for desktop and then overwrite them with the mobile styles. And that's backwards, because most mobile people aren't on, like, maybe not most, but a lot of mobile people are on their data plan or whatever, not on Wi-Fi. So it's a logic thing. And in M2, we have basically Luma and Blank, which most themes are derived from. They switch from mobile to desktop at 768. This, for pretty much every build I've ever done, is not ideal, because there's almost always a tablet view, right? You're going to want something that represents a tablet size, or at least you don't want, you don't on your tablet want a straight up mobile display or a straight up desktop display. It doesn't work, right? So what you have to do, because at 768, it splits these two files, right? It splits L styles from M styles. So you basically have to do some fanciness to inject yourself a tablet layout. We switch over at 640 from mobile to tablet. And I added this mixin in responsive.less right here. It's just an empty mixin. A mixin is a CSS function that you can write in less. And then I just output it right here inside the mobile style group. Because normally the thing you use is this, media common true. And you like check inside your CSS, is media common true? And then it outputs that, in the right one. But since we switch right in between here, it never puts the styles you want in the right spot. And it gets all tricky with doing mobile first. So, make yourself a little mix-in inside of responsive, stick it so it's just right inside the first mobile one. And then you can have your, in variables, you can just add a whatever size that you want. And then back in responsive, you're just going to say like, at this screen size, do this. Now this does also kind of point out that you can't, in your normal like CSS, or your less file, you can't stick a normal media query right here. Like I can't just say at, max width, whatever media query right here, because that is, what it's going to end up doing. Like if I put it in this one, it's going to stick that media query in like M. So that'll only load on mobile. If you put it here, it'll put it only, it's kind of split inside of this file. You can see which ones load where. Style groups for mobile devices, and then these groups for desktop. And then I'll show you real quick inside of the source code. So if we do like view source the old-fashioned way, and then wait a minute, you can see right here we have styles M right there, and then styles dash, oh, there it is, styles dash L. And you can see how it outputs it too, like directly right there on there, it's saying min width 768, styles L. So, like, let's say, right, you had your tablet styles inside of this media query, and you wanted to start at 640, well, that ain't gonna work because it doesn't even load until then. Now, the other way around this, right, is to like basically start undoing what Magento and Blank and Luma have done here by splitting these that way. But you don't want to go really that far just to add a tablet layout. You could, if you want to do kind of fix this in a different way. But what I did is I said, you know, mobile will load all in this one, and tablet does too. And then desktop loads in that one. Or no, tablet is in this one too because 768. So there's a little overlap, but that's okay. And then we'll jump back to here. So yeah, I mean this is a brain blender problem right here that, you know, like as a normal web developer, when you start having to do these type of things in Magento 2, you kind of start questioning your career choices, you know, all that type of stuff. But then you know, you kind of get to the other side. Yeah, okay, you know, Magento's not so bad. Now that it works, it's okay again. But you know, this one will definitely give you some guff, especially if you're new to front-end development. Even like you kind of get to that point where it's like, well, I'm just trying to add a tablet layout, man, you know, and so you just want to maybe refer back to this and you can get some insight there. I'll go to the next one real quick. These are just some resources that I've used on previous projects. Fontello. Oop, did I just click remove? Oh no. Yeah, Fontello is really cool. So what it'll allow you to do is choose from these different icons. So it has like Font Awesome and a bunch of icon groups, iconic, Brando, whatever, web symbols. You can choose like to create, oh, you know what, I need this one, and this one from this pack, and this one and this one. And then also I'm going to upload 5 of my own that the designer made that he wants to be a part of it. And then you output the whole thing as a font. It gives you the font and the config file. So you can put that into your repo. And next time something needs to be added, you just, you know, re-upload the config file to this website. It has the right one picked or the right things chosen, and you can add the one you need to add, re-export it. And so it's a cool way to make your icon fonts and manage them with the config file. Find it really useful. But then I will say this next one right here is the cage match between SVG icon fonts, SVGs and icon fonts. And I will just let you know that icon fonts lose horribly. They're blurry on certain screens, whereas SVGs are beautiful. SVGs are a lot harder to implement correctly. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you want a clean, super nice looking icon on all different devices, you're going to want to use SVG icons as opposed to fonts, just because fonts have like anti-aliasing and stuff. Basically, what's going on with this debate is making font icons is great for developers, and it has a lot of advantages as far as like moving quickly and getting icons onto the website. But if you have like a big budget and you want things to be done pixel perfectly right, SVG icons are the way to go. I will tell you, you can't upload SVGs into Magento. It's like a security issue. So it kind of has to be done from the theme side, or you have to add a module if you want to upload SVGs. And yeah, that's it. That's my presentation. Thank you for listening. Let me know if you have any other questions.
No, great presentation.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. All right. Well, yeah, I don't know if you guys wanted to share any like resources that you use to learn Magento or web development or whatever.
So I'm not sure if you are aware that Magento is currently running the promotion, and they are giving many of their on-demand courses for free until June 30th.
Yeah.
If you are not signed up for it, or if you're not aware it, that is highly recommended. Go for it. They do have a couple of good courses. One of the courses on the theme creation, the best practices or how to create the theme for Magento. The other 2 or 3 courses they have on is Fundamental of Magento 2 Part 1, Part 2. Both courses are again good for the backend front-end devs. And I'm not sure if you are using Magento Commerce or open source. If you are on Magento Commerce, Page Builder is a very good tool with the Magento Commerce, and they do have a course on Page Builder as well. And that too very detailed course on learning how Page Builder is working or how you can utilize it. So yes, highly recommended, because we still have like 2 months and bunch of those courses are free. Just go ahead, sign up for it.
Oh yeah, that's a great suggestion. I'm signed up, but I didn't know they had a page builder course. That's great, man.
Yeah, they do.
To get Ruggy enrolled in that.
Yes, and if you even know like a basic of Page Builder, you can do that course in like couple of hours, and you can learn a lot. Like by doing yourself, it might take months, but looking at that course for a couple of hours, you will know the real power of Page Builder.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if you can post a link. I'm trying to find that course.
You have to log in to it. Then yeah, once you log in here, you'll able to see there are like 8 or 10 courses for Magento and 8 or 10 courses for Marketo.
You guys are good.
On the left panel, the second icon just below home. Oh no, third one, the catalog. And from the down below, you see show more result. That's a tricky part. Otherwise, you'll end up just seeing those 6 courses. Yeah, just keep clicking the show more result, and you can filter it using Magento from the left panel.
Awesome. Let's just see.
And you see order management, and not sure if Page Builder is already gone.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Here it is. Awesome, dude. Thank you so much.
Yeah, 354 enrollments.
Sorry, is it Taryn Deep?
Yes.
Yes. Are there any Magento meetups in the Florida area? When I was in Florida, I didn't see much.
Oh, there is one, and it's run by Philip Jackson. I'm not sure if you know that guy or not. And it's been there for a few years now. It's called South Florida Magento Meetup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you active in the one very active in the one in Florida, or
not very active, because it used to be very good, because they used to, I would say a year ago, they used to share a lot of Magento content. But what happens every time a meetup starts, initially they have a lot of content to talk about, but after, let's say, 8 to 10 meetup, they do not have a lot content to talk about. So lately what they do is, okay, just come and join, and whoever have anything to talk about, let's talk. This Thursday, I believe they're going to have another meetup, and there is no agenda decided. It's more of, okay, during this COVID-19 situation, do you have any challenge, or if you want to talk about anything related to SMBs, then yes, come join us and we're going to talk about it.
okay? And I'm just trying to gauge, you know, how we should move forward with this meetup. Do you think like you're saying that that's something that generally happens to Magento meetups? So you're saying a lot of people feel that way about Magento meetups in general, not just yourself?
I once like it. So let's say here in this group we are 5 people. So this time 5 people made it, but next time it it would be like 3 or 4, or let's say even 5 people made it. But who gonna speak about a topic?
Gotcha.
So to finding people who can speak is also or another challenge. Yes, this time Steve shared his experience. Next time, let's say you or me, I can share something. But what about after 3 or 4 meetup?
Okay.
You may not have much thing to talk about. So
Okay.
that list will be exhausted in 4, 5, 6, or 10 meetups. If you have more people, and if those people are looking for contribution, then yes, it can stay live. There are plenty of Magento meetups who are running for years and years, and yes, they still have content to talk about. But we need to have more people who feels like they want to contribute. If there are just 1 or 2 people who are running the meetup and they are more like, okay, I want to run, but they will sooner or later end up with running out of topics.
Yeah, totally understand.
Yep. I myself run a Magento meetup, and that's for my hometown. I usually or normally do the remote sessions only. So lately, to me also, I'm having hard time to find people who can just come onto the meetup and contribute. For me, it's also get difficult every time, look for a topic, learn about it, and then share my knowledge with everyone. So yeah, that's one of the challenge.
So what's the name of your meetup?
Indore Magento meetup Magento Indore, INDORE. That's it.
INDORE. Okay.
Let me see if I can quickly share the link.
Hey Steve T, I hope you didn't have anything else interrupting. Hey Steve.
All right, I'm back. Are you guys? Sorry.
Okay, copy. So I'm bringing the URL in the chat. Control
Sweet,
V.
is there other Magento meetup?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, and this meetup account, I guess this is a free account, or it's your own account, or?
Okay. No, I made it. I'm gonna try to find someone to sponsor it and pay me back.
No, I'm gonna pay you back, but yes, if you want, I can connect you to the right person, and or you can make me the kind of one of the contributor or something. Then I can connect with one of the Magento guy, and you can connect this meetup with the Magento, and this account will get free automatically.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good. Let me see. So I was thinking also, I mean, until the learning material stops being free, we have like at least material for like a study group,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we could do some kind of study group if you guys want. Like, I don't know if it's someone like reads through it during the week and then presents what they learned, or if you guys want to go through it together and kind of do that, would be fine with me either way.
Yeah, Steve.
Yes, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying, what was the name you had for that particular type of presentation?
It's like birds of a feather, I think is what they called it. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I guess
No, it's not the term you used before, but yeah, I was, yeah, I think that's something I'd be interested in next week or whenever we decide to meet up again. I'd be interested in like presenting on one of the topics in the Magento on-demand courses because I've been going through them.
Oh, maybe I said lightning talk.
A lightning talk?
Is that it?
No, it's a different word you use, but
Okay, I don't know.
I'll bring it up again on our next meetup. But yeah, I don't know. Magento has there's a lot of different things and different challenges that you could that you encounter working in Magento. So I don't know why people would run out of material, but I don't think we will. So yeah, definitely looking forward for like hopefully we can add more people. I know it was only 5 people today, but you know hopefully.
Yeah, I saw there were more RSVPs, but and that's what happens. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And yep, and let me know if you want me to connect to someone, and I can get your meetup connected to Magento account so that you have more control to the meetup, and that account will be paid by Magento.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm trying to kind of connect with you, I guess, through Meetup, or do you want to do emails?
Yeah, under the meetup, like you can make me kind of contributor, or they have bunch of option in there. You can make me one of the organizers.